Hello everybody, welcome back to Everyman Prepping. And so who said the quote, "It won't end well"? Well, it came from Charles Nenner, who was doing an interview with Greg Hunter on his USA Watchdog website. And Charles is he's a renowned geopolitical and financial cycle expert. And he gives predictions based on the cycles that he's seen. And he's been getting pretty close and doing pretty good. So I want to go through his last interview, kind of present what he's predicting is coming up. It's very interesting and doesn't bode well for a lot of us, but there is one bright spot that he does talk about. So that being said, please like, share, and comment the video, and also if you enjoy this, please subscribe and check out my other videos. So moving on here, we see that the title from Zero Hedge here is "I'm afraid of the worst, afraid for the worst. The war is going to pick up, and gold is going to hit 30,000." We're going to talk more about that. That might be stretching a little bit, but we're going to talk about what happens if you do hit 30K on gold per ounce. But anyways, starting off here. Just like the background on Charles, I said he's a geopolitical financial cycle expert. And to give you an idea on his accuracy, in November of last year, he said interest rates were on the way down. And he's talking about real estate interest rates, and they have come down recently from their peaks. So he was correct on that one. And then he also predicted an inflation rate of 6.5% at the beginning of the year. And, the January number just came in at 6.4%. So pretty accurate. He does pretty good. Now, I know when you look at him here, you're going to say, wow, that guy is a tinfoil hat conspiracy wearing dude. I know he looks a little crazy, but he has good info. So now let's go through what he said here. What he says is, when asked, are interest rates, is the Fed going to pivot? Are they going to lower rates and real estate interest rates going to go down? He says, we're going up, not right away, but we're going to go up. So they're going to keep raising rates. And what he said in response to that was, quote, "You don't hear the talk anymore that the Fed is going to lower rates because it's so ridiculous. If you're an insider, the Fed funds rate in the futures just made a new high. So now everybody's expecting a much higher Fed funds rate than a few months ago. We are not out of trouble yet, and the bounce in stocks is almost over." You hear that a lot, the dead cat bounce, the delta squeeze. That's this rate, the stocks have been screaming up, since January. They've been going up. Well, a lot of people call them that a dead cat bounce, the delta squeeze, and as he says here, the bounce of the stock is almost over. And then he predicts a 6.5% Fed funds rate through 2024, or into 2024. A lot of people saying this year, the Fed is saying they were going to stop at 5.25. Now they're saying that even the most aggressive ones are saying 5.5, but he's predicting 6.5. That's pretty high. Housing market is going to drop off a cliff, both commercial and residential, if that happens. It's already getting bad, but wait till that happens if it does. And that's when he also says next in his interview that the stock market can go down 40% later in 2023. So, let's see, the S&P is at 4,000 now. It goes down to 40. It goes down 40%, so it goes down to 2,400. A lot of people are going to lose a lot of money. Their 401ks, their pension funds. You're going to have people jumping out of buildings, jumping out of windows. Maybe even literally, not even figuratively. That's a lot of money to lose. And he addresses here in a minute about how he thinks that's going to happen. But let's continue. So he says, if the West, so they asked him about Ukraine in the war, and he says, well, if the West doesn't understand it, if they start shipping planes, I am really afraid for the worst, he says. Quote, they think they can push everybody around, meaning NATO, the West, the UK, and you just can't push everybody around. At a certain moment, they will have had enough. You can only cross so many red lines before, Putin basically pushes the button. Putin does something back. Putin comes to your country and does something. And he goes on to say, the United States, the West isn't ready for war, especially a nuclear war. I think he fears this might go nuclear. He says, quote, so something is going to come and make everyone very afraid. I think this is why the markets will go down. So something's going to happen in the war, something bad. It's going to take a very bad turn. Maybe more countries, maybe a nuke will be used, maybe some other type of weapon, chemical weapon will be used. Spook the market like crazy, and it's going to drop like a rock. So that's the prediction. So if you're in stocks, annuities, equities, all that, not financial advice here, of course, not a financial advisor, but you might want to take this guy's advice and maybe get into something else. So then He also was asked, based on the war cycle, so he was asked about the war cycle, the war is going to pick up and it's not going to end well. So that's where I got the quote from. The war is going to pick up and it's not going to end well. But the one bright part, now we're going to get to the bright part he was talking about. He says, well, it's good and bad. So let's go there. He said the bull market in gold in this cycle has not even started yet. The gold will rise during a recession, and a hiking interest rate period always lags, and it's still lagging. He said, but it's only weeks away. Now, don't take that as meaning 1 or 2 weeks. That can be 10 or 20 weeks. It's still weeks. But he says the bull market in gold is weeks away. He says an enormous upside for gold. I agree. Why else are central banks around the world buying tons and tons of gold? Why is Russia, India, China, countries like that, why are they hoarding gold? Well, they know they're going to need it, I think. Most of the BRICS nations are hoarding the gold right now, so do what they're doing. And then he said, quote, I say enormous upside because I have inside information from the big economic summit in Davos. I heard things that can make your stomach turn. I'm sure he did. Continue with the quote. They are really concerned with taking out cash. They will have a digital currency. And as you know, yesterday, or the day before, I just did a video about the CBDC and how they're going to control you. Didn't get a lot of play, didn't get a lot of love. So if you have time, I'll put a card up above. Go watch that video and give it a like or so. I talk about just what he says. The digital currency is coming out, and it's going to be used to influence and control your daily life. So check that out. Continue on. He said, gold can hit $2,500 per ounce. That would put silver about $31 an ounce, in today's 80 to 1 or so exchange rate. And he said that, years ago this could happen. And he says if it goes to that, gold can go to $30,000 per ounce, because he believes that we'll go back to a gold standard. I believe that we'll also go back to God's money, gold and silver, a gold standard. And I'm going to get back to this in a minute about going to 30,000 gold. But the last sentence here that I want to talk to you about is he sees higher prices for food and energy. I think all of us agree that's going to happen. And lower prices for residential and commercial real estate because of the higher interest rates. But I want to talk really quickly at the last thing here about this 30,000 gold. It sounds great. People that own gold, if you have some out there like, oh, I'm going to be rich, 30,000 an ounce, that's going to be amazing. I won't need to work, whatever. Well, in my opinion, you're not going to want to live in a world where gold is 30,000 an ounce. Bad, drastic things are going to happen for gold to be worth 30,000 an ounce. That would put silver. That probably put silver at $500-$600 an ounce. So imagine that if you own silver, imagine that at $500 or $600 an ounce. A world like that's going to be chaotic, crazy. The Fed notes, the Federal Reserve notes are going to be dead. We'll be switching over to a new currency, but everything has died. And the whole system has come crashing down. You might not want to live in a world with that much chaos. It might be necessary to switch to a new monetary system, but it's not all going to be roses. So, at a $30,000 per ounce gold, lead and brass and food might actually be more valuable if that's going on. So that's what, prepare for that. It's great to say, I have 10 ounces of gold on me. I got 5 ounces. I got 1 ounce of gold on me. That's $30,000. That's great. Well, you better have some of the other, lead, brass, and food, water, if that happens, because you're going to need it, because it's going to be a pretty chaotic, crazy time if we get to that point. So I just wanted to give this guy to you really quick, something to think about. Like I said, you can watch other videos. He has his own YouTube channel that you can read some of the stuff he has. This Charles Nenner. Check him out. I'll put a link in the description as well to Greg Hunter's interview with him, because it goes on for like 40 minutes. He talks about all kinds of stuff. It's very interesting. Check it out. So I'll put that link down there below as well. And I'd love to hear your comments. Write in the comments section. What do you think about these guys? Is he way off base? Is he on track? What do you think based on what Charles said? What'll happen? And would you be excited for 30,000 gold, or would you kind of be like me, a little cautious, like that's gonna be a crazy world if that happens? But I'm gonna prepare and be ready for a world like that. So until next time, keep your ear to the ground. Head on a swivel.